Great question. Thanks, Maureen. Anyone else? Okay. So now we're going to get into the competency piece. And competencies, again, knowing your knowledge, your skills, and your traits is really important just for you as a human being. But aside from that, professionally, whether you are, again, within a company and you're wanting to be more visible or wanting to get to that next level, or whether you're in transition, whatever the case may be, you need to be able to know what your strengths are and then to convey those strengths in a compelling story, basically. And that's what competencies are all about. Now, before we get into, and I see that look of fear, it's like, it was just perfect segue, so thank you for that. Before we get into any strategies or tactics around identifying our competencies and creating success stories, let me ask you, when you think about promoting yourself, or quote unquote, tooting your own horn, what comes to mind? How do you feel? What thoughts do you have? What was your look?
We were just discussing how hard it is to market yourself. And you don't want to appear conceited or haughty or
A lot of nods there. So really it's challenging. You don't want to come across as conceited and all of that. You had a comment?
Anxious?
Yeah, what about it makes you anxious?
I think everything you just said, and then sort of being on an island, promoting yourself.
You kind of feel like you're out there on your own and having to push to get something.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Who else? How does it make you feel? Does anyone enjoy it? Thank you. There's people out there that enjoy it. And what about it do you enjoy?
It's the opportunity to really self-reflect about the things that you feel good about. You know, I'm usually enjoying those things that I do well. So it's the opportunity to really reflect on those things and to kind of recreate that feel-good feeling and to think that you can share it with someone and perhaps move them forward is even the big, kahuga.
Great perspective. I love it. So really a chance to continue that good feeling and to bring value to other people, right?
Exactly.
The whole thing is you're wanting to share your value. You're wanting to help benefit them in some way, not just benefit yourself. I saw another hand. Yeah.
I think it shows that you have self-confidence within yourself, that you're able to do that. So, without being a little overbearing to others.
So there's a way to be
you don't want to be too much.
Well, I'm a big believer that any strength that we have, if we overdo it or we misapply it, it becomes a development area. So wonderful to be confident, and if you're too confident, you're cocky.
Yeah.
Great to be in service, as many of us in HR are. And if you're too giving, you're a doormat.
Right.
All right? And I see a lot of nods there. So that is a common challenge with us as HR professionals, is what makes us so good is we're used to being in service to other people. And so a lot of us have a hard time being in service to ourselves. And the truth is, if we're not in service to ourselves, then we're not able to help other people. So if we are putting ourselves on the back burner and always giving, there's opportunity for us to burn out. And we're not on top of our game. And then we can't really be doing all these wonderful things that we want to be doing. So it's not about being selfish, it's about self-care. Okay, big difference. And this comes up a lot in coaching. And I think too, for a lot of us, we kind of assume like, well, I'm doing this fantastic job, shouldn't my manager notice, or my colleagues, or my clients, or whoever, I don't want to have to, speak up and say, look at me and look what I've done. And what are our day-to-day realities like? Yes, thighs rolling. Like, how many of you have a few things on the to-do list, lose sight of things, we're overwhelmed? Our managers, our colleagues, everyone else is in the same boat we are. So we can't put this unexpected expectation, an unrealistic expectation of other people that it's their job to remember all the fabulous things that we're doing. It's our responsibility, okay? So it's really important to keep that in mind and to be realistic about that. And there was one more point I wanted to make here too. which was that self-promotion or tooting your own horn also doesn't mean you have to lie. It doesn't mean that you can't give credit to other people that might have been a part of the process or the story that you're sharing. Or it doesn't mean that you have to, exaggerate. And you want to be real. This is about you authentically sharing what you did and why it was successful. And if there are other people involved, great. It shows a competency around collaboration or being a team player. And depending on your environment, that could be really good. Okay? So those are a few thoughts. And if you're one of those people that has that kind of perspective around self-promotion, I invite you to challenge that. He heard another perspective, which is great. And there's a million perspectives we hold. So I like to start with this mindset piece because I could give you the best tactics, tools, and strategies in the world. If you're still holding that mindset of, this sucks, and I really look conceited, nothing's going to happen. All right? So with that, the two elements of competencies, as I mentioned, is identifying what are your knowledge, skills, and traits, and then coming up with stories to really back it up. And the definition, knowledge, skills, and traits. So let me ask you this. First of all, with knowledge, we're looking at expertise that we've developed. So in human resources, what kind of knowledge bases do we possess? Shout it out. What are the big umbrellas of HR?
Compliance.
Benefits, compliance,
Compensation.
compensation.
Employee relations.
Oh, employee relations. My favorite.
Recruiting, training.
Recruiting. There you go. So these are broad knowledge bases, okay? Then we have skills, which are specific abilities. So what type of skills do we possess in HR? Organization, can you relate it to a knowledge base?
Well, you have to kind of organize your department or organize tasks.
Fair enough.
Plan.
So when you're organizing, that would actually fall more under the behavior or the trait piece, because it's how you're doing the work. Does that make sense? That's the how of it. But the skills are still around the what. What are we doing within those knowledge areas? So with that, what other thoughts do you
Problem
have?
solving.
Problem solving, great. What else?
Negotiating.
Negotiating. What else? Like how about, for example, within recruitment, what is a skill that you need to have within recruitment? Thank you. Interviewing skills, resume reviews. I saw a hand up here. Well, tact, again, we're going more towards that trait piece. It's how we approach it, but the skills are still the what. So pick another area like compensation. You mentioned compensation. What are some skills within compensation?
Analytical skills.
And what's a specific task within the compensations that you could apply those analytical skills to?
Salary review.
Salary review, excellent, okay? So again, the skills are very specific tasks that you are performing within that knowledge-based area. Okay?
Wage survey.
Employee surveys.
Wage survey.
Wage, thank you, wage surveys, absolutely, okay? Now let's move then to traits. So let's say that we are performing a wage survey. What would be a trait or your personal style in facilitating that? What kind of trait or behavior would be necessary for the wage survey?
Being a detailed person.
Details,
Yeah.
discretion, what else?
Analysis.
Analysis, yeah? Being approachable, excellent, okay? So within each of these, then we get into the traits. So we just picked one example. What other traits come to mind within HR specifically? You mentioned one, organization skills, right? What else?
Flexibility.
Flexibility, big time.
Objectivity.
Time management.
Objectivity, time management.
Being able to listen, and I feel like I'm a therapist a lot of times.
Right.
That's how I got into coaching. Yeah. So being a good listener, being empathetic with other people. Okay? Those are all excellent examples of traits or behaviors. And depending on the organization, particular culture that you're either working in or that you're wanting to move into, certain knowledge, skills, and traits are going to be more important than others. So like I joked a moment ago, if your organization is very team-oriented, then you want to be able to share your competency around being a team player, if you are. If you're not, you might not be a good fit for you. And the same is true vice versa, right? If it's all about being a sole contributor and you're coming in with stories going, oh, well, I'm a real team player, not a good fit. So you want to be very targeted as you're doing research either around getting promoted within your organization or whether you're in transition, about thinking about what kind of competencies are going to be very needed and relevant to the specific discussion I'm having. And then I'm going to highlight those stories around the competencies that fit, that I possess. And if I possess them, but they might not be as obvious to you by looking at my resume, we need to show those transferable skills. So I might want to highlight some of those stories so people get, oh, even though it might not be so clear from your title, you have that competency. What questions do you have just about the definition and the components of competencies? Piece of cake, right? All right. So I'm going to put up on the next slides here a couple of different lists of competencies. These are also in your materials on pages 5 and 6. And the purpose for me showing you this is that we are going to use these as sort of a menu for you, because in a moment I'm going to give you a little bit of time on your own to start actually highlighting and writing down which competencies you possess, whether they be knowledge, skills, or behaviors, or traits. You're just going to make a laundry list and write them down on page 6. I believe there's a space for you to write that down. So just to give you your menu, here are some traditional tactical HR competencies, including interviewing and hiring, employee relations, all the tasks that some of these we talked about before. And here are some more strategic ones: succession planning, organizational effectiveness, coaching skills, team building, working on strategy. And there's no right or wrong here. I just give this to you as food for thought as you're contemplating your own competencies. All right, so just to kind of give you the big picture before I let you loose. As it says up here, employers hire and promote people to produce results. So really the whole process that we are going to start to embark on today is to, number one, identify the competencies. Number two, to really articulate actions that we've taken through stories to show the competencies, to demonstrate them. And then finally, what are the results? And results can be quantifiable or they can be qualitative. And in HR, oftentimes, as we all know, they are qualitative. So don't get hung up if you don't have a number or some kind of matrix to attach to the story. It could be morale. It could be related to the relationships between manager and employees within the team. It could be tied to lower turnover, higher retention. There's all different types of ways to identify results, okay? And that result piece is really important. Because again, we want to be targeted. If we're just sharing some great story, but we're not showing the impact we had, then okay, that was really nice, but how does this help me in determining whether or not you're a good fit or whether or not you can make it to that next level and within our company? I want to hear specifically what are the results. So we're now embarking on this first step of this process, which is identifying your competencies. And I have an example up here. So this one says leadership development and coaching. And the actions this person took, they developed and facilitated a company-wide 360-degree feedback process and performed leadership training. And some of the results: a significant increase in positive ratings of managers by employees, as well as 15% decrease in employee relation issues and concerns. All right, so pretty straightforward, not rocket science, just takes a little bit of thought. And again, I will share this tactic and the model to write your story once you've identified your competencies. So what questions do you have before I let you loose in just brainstorming your list of competencies? And please begin. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes, and you're going to hear me blow a loud whistle when it's time to stop. Please let me know if I can help along the way.
Did you get some good quality photos?
This,
I can hear you. Yeah, but that's my
Because it was all blind, yeah. Did it really? Everyone just, we did a performance. Yeah. Well, anytime it's so cute. And then I knew about me too. Yeah. We got Yeah, I did. We did ours in that time.
It's back.
Does anybody have questions about Purdue?
Keep saying it.
I have that right.
Oh, okay, so he didn't keep it? No. Okay. Yeah, it's his. I got it from Laura. Awesome that he participated. So that's really yeah, it is, right. We blurted out or something. Okay. Yeah. We had some really big photos.
Because it's much more than
Right. That's what we did. We had 4 winners to get a tie.
I know, I'm a wonderful show.
12,
Yeah, we have that's on my list too. I'll send you my list. I got me great.
American Girl, which is also
And we put this on the screen, and so the remote team and the inside team will both see it at the same time. And I knew how much stuff I said. So this picture or this allows the person to stand up and say, this is my picture from the remote American Girl is correct. We had first, second, and third, and then no, we had the car. So we actually have. No, you had to personally take it, the picture. Yeah.